Good morning, guys, and welcome to the Hobby Room channel once again. Well, this morning we have a long overdue video. I promised this one to you guys a long time ago, and I've done the individual videos on each of these cars, but I kind of wanted to do a summary. I set out to build the hoppers, of course, the Hornet, the Grasshopper II, the Grasshopper, and the Fighter buggy. And things just kind of spiraled from there. You'll see a video coming soon on the lunchbox that I built in the middle of this. So really, I got the chance to build the important hoppers all at the same time. So what was my experience like with the hoppers? Well, first of all, I'm going to quote or loosely quote Gavin Evans in saying that, these are the entry level of the Tamiya cars. And it's tough because these are great for guys like me, I'm 41, who remember these cars. These were our first cars. These are the cars that got us into the hobby. If you were to give one of these to a young kid getting into it now, you'd have to do a caveat. If I were to try to get a youngster into the hobby today, I would give them a Grasshopper. I would have them build it, but then I would follow it up almost immediately with a current hobby grade RC. The reason being is that if you give a young kid a Grasshopper, or if you give a young kid a Hornet, they're going to learn these awesome lessons about building, RC, and then they're going to take it to the park, and they're going to get their butts whooped by all of their buddies who have contemporary, commercially available, off-the-shelf RC. These don't perform the way the new stuff does, but there's a huge amount of lessons to be learned in the process of building them. So if you had a young one, you wanted to get them into RC, I would absolutely say, yes, do a Grasshopper. Yes, do a Hornet. But then again, immediately once they're done and they have a good run and play with it, back it up with a contemporary RC or something more aggressive, because I promise you that if they take it to the local RC car track or whatever, just about every other youngster out there is going to have something new off the shelf that's going to way outperform them, and all of a sudden you're going to have a disappointed young boy or girl, because anything new is just going to run circles around these. Now, with that having been said, sorry, it's a very early Thursday morning, so I'm still having my go-go juice to wake up. What are my thoughts on these four cars? Well, I guess we'll start at the start, the Grasshopper. It's iconic, and let me start by saying all of these cars are runners. These three cars have sport-tuned motors in them. This one has the RZ motor in it, just because I'm a huge fan of the RZ motor. I keep them everywhere. I put them in just about everything. I think they're great. They make a lot of power. But I didn't feel that they were appropriate for these three cars. So, starting at the start, the Grasshopper is iconic. I enjoyed the build. I put a sport-tuned in it. Use the TBLEO2S ESC, completed the build with all ball bearing, painted up my driver figure, painted up my body, lacquered over the body, came out great. I'm glad to have it in the collection. It was a good play. The tires do not work in grass. Like I said, I did an individual running video of each of these on my channel, so if you guys go back, you'll see that. The tires suck for the grass. It's good on the street, so I would call that an all-around, decent car to play with, but it's iconic. You can't have a collection and not have a Grasshopper. I still needed to paint the roll cage silver, but past that, that's a done runner. If you were to go level up, you would find yourself with the Hornet. There's no question that due to the articulated rear end and the spiky tires, this is absolutely level up from that. This handles grass just fine, and that's a byproduct of the tires. It bounces around a little bit on the street. This isn't quite as good on pavement as this is. But again, no question it's level up. It's a polycarbonate body, so when the kids flip it and destroy the body shell on it, you're not quite going to, be in it for as much money as you would replacing the hard shell, but there is more work involved because, every time they trash this, you go have to get a new body shell, cut it out, paint it, stickers, da-da-da-da-da-da. Then what happened was that thing, and that turned out to be an odd bit of kit. It's a Grasshopper II, but during the build, it turned into a Super G. And you can, again, reference the video for details, but it ended up with Vanquish VQS shocks on it, which are correct for a Super G, the Super G wheels and tires. Again, the body, that's a hard shell that I lacquered after I applied the stickers. Although it's a full runner, I will never run it. Those wheels break and they can't be found, so that's just going to be a shelf queen. I did, however, take it for a quick play, and I found it to be basically on par with the Hornet. These two are about the same class of vehicle, being one very small gradient up from the Grasshopper. That takes us to the Fighter Buggy Memorial. Now, this is on a DTO1 chassis. I had never built one, and it was an interesting build. Well, first of all, it looks awesome. I put the RZ motor in it, so it's got gobs of power. Handles grass, no problem. I went a little overkill with the detail on the driver. All of these have highly detailed driver figures in them. I kind of just take a lot of pride in the driver figures I do. This car was interesting. I was expecting a vast improvement over the Hornet. In that it has all oil shocks and, it's still a hopper axle, live axle car, but the reality of the build is the quality was not what I expected. I really feel like Tamiya missed the mark. They needed to go one level up in quality on this DTO1 chassis. It's not to say that it's bad. It just simply didn't meet my expectations. The back half is brilliant. The front half is questionable. The steering is completely unacceptable. I reworked it because it was basically unusable out of the box. So I had to there was a wire linking the left and right wheel, and there was so much slop. I didn't even attempt to go any further. I immediately stopped, put ball ends in with a link to try to tidy up some of the steering, and had good success doing so. So there's no question that amongst these four, this is top of the pile. This is the best performer. But like I said, it didn't quite meet my expectation. So there you go, guys. I promised you in a video that I was going to build 4 hoppers. I built 5. The lunchbox build video is going to be a separate thing. I did that for a friend who was also a customer, and I really went 10/10ths on that build and that paintwork. But there it is. There's your hoppers. There's my opinion. They're a ton of fun. If you're an older guy like me who wants to relive your early days, this is a fantastic way to do it. If you want to get a youngster into the hobby, this is a great way to get them in. But again, don't expect, a 9-year-old to build one of these, take it to the car track, and be able to compete or play with their friends who have new hobby-grade RCs. These guys will not keep up. This is 80s technology. So that's my final thoughts on the 4 hoppers they build. the 4 hoppers that I built. They are now going to go into the collection where I will look at them and enjoy them every now and then. All my cars are runners, you guys know that. To end the video, I'll say please like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Don't forget, I repair model airplanes and model airplane engines for a living. So any of your model engine needs, any of your RC car needs, any of your RC airplane needs, don't forget me, as that's what I do to keep the lights on. So thanks guys for watching. It's appreciated as always, and I will see you on the next video.